Hello, what's good, family? This is your People's channel now. And this is your main man, Justice, the people's disciple. Again, we come on your way again, we just come to drop you some stuff again. Again, just like I said, this is like one of the most endeared story to our heart, and then we just want to say it, man. We just want to keep it flowing, man, to people. We just want to keep it real, brother. So in reference to the things that we've been saying in the previous video, we were talking about black inferiority, and we were talking about how African distrust between one African to another Africans. We don't have trust on each other. We easily trust the white people than we trust the black people. And this is, it's not by choice. You might think it's by choice, but this is by design. It's by programming. We have been programmed to believe in certain things that we think now we are making choices out of these things. We are not making the choices. These choices have been made for us 400 years ago. So this brought me to my stuff now, what I'm saying, like, black people, we don't have interest on each other. We don't have trust on each other. Our interests are not at hand. This is why it's very easy for we to be walked up or be walk unopened. Somebody can easily just come and just step on us and then go. It's all good. And our suffering is like, it's not a suffering to another people. And as to us, as black to black, we have to feel each other's pain. We have to feel each other's struggle. We have to feel each other's sweat, brother. Well, right now, what happens? Like, you can go to the Mediterranean. You can go to the Libya. You can go into the all kind of spots whereby transportation of human beings have been made up. And then you see these places, like I've been telling you, brothers. This place is like from the beginning of any country that you might come from. We all know what kind of struggle happens on the way. I am not going to go into the nitty-gritties or into the litany of these things or into the step-by-step programming of these things for you to understand it. No, I'm not going to do it. If you come through the way, you know what I'm talking about. Even if you don't come through this way, you have people who explain everything to you. I'm not here to discourage anybody. If you're doing anything you think is meaningful to your life, do it. May God be with you in anything that you are doing. But what I want to tell you, I want to tell the people that we have to check out our struggle. We have to check out our risk. Sometimes we risk too much that even after the process is done, we cannot recover. Sometimes we see the picture, but what we are seeing, before you get to that picture, you are done. For instance, if you are like 25 to 30 years old in Africa, you are doing some business after your graduation, you are doing some stuff in Africa, you are doing some things. These are very much good. If you have some assistant and something, you can just be pushed to do some big things in Africa. Or what happens, that information that I was talking about from the first episode, like you have these people loaded with information from the brothers or from the sisters in Europe. From Europe. And you tend to believe in this information. You're willing to sacrifice everything that you have and everything that you were doing in Africa. That was like your stuff that you planned. You are the master of that stuff. You're willing to give it away just to come to Europe. And if you go to the embassy, we all know what happens. Embassy hardly give visa to African people because they just want to keep us away from Europe. That's the bottom line, I say it. So what happens now? We came into Europe now through immigration, through migration. And the way that we took, man, this way is not no lightweight weight. It's not a lightweight structure because of we move from one country to another, unauthorized, cross borders to border, border after border, border after border, border after border, and sometimes we get confined in a certain spot, and we start having problem with those countries people even. And the police they have to unleash the police and the soldiers on us. Within the continent of Africa, we suffered. You have to move and get into the North Africa, which simply means Morocco and this Tunisia and Libya, where people cross, Brother, I'm just bringing it to you just like the way it is. Along this way, you can see you have women. You have kids on board. Back in the days, you cannot even dream of having these kids to travel, because back in days in Africa, if you have to travel, you have to be above 35 years. You have to be close to 40 years. But now you see kids that are traveling, and Johnny, even you ask them, what do you want to do in Europe? They don't know in their mind. People take those kind of risk. They put their life on everything. These people, they don't even know when they get to Europe what they will do. How are you going to come to Europe? You don't even know what you're going to do when you get to Europe, and now you're going to Europe. You leaving everything that you know behind. You're going to somewhere where you don't know nothing. You see women in the desert. A land mass is like almost over 2,000 square kilometers or 3,000 square kilometers. You see women in there, and the water there is no water in the desert. The car get broken down, and these people can be in the desert for more than 6 days, 7 days, 8 days. You know how many people died in the desert? Car accidents happens in the desert. People get jumped in the desert. Some people got robbed. They have to start it from bottom to bottom. Bottoms up. Everything is gone. You have to start it from the bottom. You don't even know how to call your people now, because they took your everything. You don't even have connection anymore. Your people's number and everything got lost on you now. Now you are on your own in the middle of the desert. Did you know how many people die in the desert and their parents still don't know about that? Now you move away from the desert. Like in the desert, people start dropping their life now. People start losing their life. So the survivors from the desert now, you come to Libya now, you have to deal with the wickedness of some of the Libyan people. Because some of the Libyans are very good. But you have to deal with the other side of the Libya. In that process also, you have people who lose their life, and some become handicapped, and some sustain very serious injuries in those environments. And now it's about time for you to cross the sea now. You have somebody that has to push you to cross the sea and everything. And these people now, they take in your money and they take you to the spot whereby they have to give you the boat and everything. Most of the people got blackmailed in those stuff. And after you lose that one also, you have to bounce back again and go and do the struggle again in a war zone. In a war zone, how can you struggle? When people running to go and seek for refuge in a war zone, you have to struggle to get money so and you can cross, because you don't want to die in that place, because now you get stuck in the middle of Tripoli now. And do you know how many people lose their life in those kind of stuff because they have to go and struggle to get something to eat? They cannot just sit at home for 1 month. They have to go out to struggle so that they can eat. Forget about the fear, forget about anything, just you have to survive now as a human being. After that one is gone now. Now, the survivors from there now, you go to the seaside now. The day that you arrive at the sea, they take you to the place whereby you find people there. They've been in those tunnels in there, for almost 2 months, 3 months, 4. You know some of the peoples in your own country, you come and see them in those tunnels, you don't believe it. You said, no, this is not the guy that I know, man. They lose all of their shape, man. The only thing is left for them is their head. The whole body is gone. They starved to death, man. People got starved to death. Starvation is like a daily stuff. And they have to force you to line up with a language that you don't understand. If you don't get it together, they're going to whoop you, man, brother. Some fight and they lose the battle, man. They bring you to the sea zone now. They have to push you to the sea. for you to go to Europe now. And they put this balloon boats on the face of the sea now. And now they're about to push you into the sea, the last gamble. Before you go, like you get the information of the 4 ships before me capsize. And before your boat even left the seashore, some of the dead bodies are introduced into the seashore now. You get mixed up. This is like a madness. Now you are just in a state of disorder now. Your mindset is not even functioning now, because of you don't know whether you are going, whether you are coming. Now with that kind of stress and that kind of raw information that you just gathered, you know, from the bottom, from just happening. This information, you don't even know how to process this information. Now, you get into the boat now and then push your way to the sea. And then you get to the sea, God only knows what is going to happen to you. If you get the rescuers, they rescue you now. You are in the hands of those rescuers. Now, the trauma and all the things that you have witnessed or you have experienced at the seashore in Tripoli, around the waves, because you are not used to this kind of system. Now, all those stuff start impact in your head now. Now you get introduced into Europe, in Italy. They don't give you no therapy. They don't give you nothing. That alone is an asylum. But now they have to come and take you to the asylum center now. You spoke about the stuff that happens to you before you left your country, and things that happens to you along the way, the kind of suffering that you suffer, nobody suffers that kind of suffering. This is what is called last level of suffering. This is what is called to the top. Nobody can outweigh your this kind of suffering. It's never gonna happen. After you get into Europe now, somebody who don't even travel within Europe to Europe with a train or with a flight, now is gonna sit in front of you now to interview you about everything that you've done. After you explain your everything to the person now, he wrote what he got to write about your stuff now, and then now they go now. That is your commission. That is your commission now. After sometimes they come back, they said, well, anyway, based on what you said, we don't believe in the kurum karam. Now you lose that appointment. You lose that commission now. And before in Italy, it was good, because if you lose the commission, they still have some places for you. They can take you to these places and everything was good. If you lose the commission, they can take you to these places and they give you some fair trials again for you to climb up and then do something. And sometimes you get the 1 year's paper and then you can start off. No, you don't talk about therapy. Some get the therapy, but majority of the people don't even know what is therapy, because of nobody talks to you about that. You have your mind fucked up on the way. You have your mind jumped up. You are just like a zombie in all over the places. Your mind got twisted. Now you are in Europe now. You have to figure out now. You are loaded with information that you cannot process by yourself. You need somebody to help you to figure this shit out. Now you have to face the reality of Europe now. The drama is gone. The narration is gone now. Everything that somebody is talking to you about Africa, or they tell you, those things are gone now. You have to face the lion for yourself now. That is Europe now. This shit is tough. After you've been in that place now, if you're in Italy, man, you have to try to speak the language. Because if you can't speak the language in a period of 1 year, you're done. Because if the next bite comes, nobody just give a shit about you. You've been in here for 1 year, you cannot speak a goddamn language. And so you have some of the people who speaks the language. So if you are in Italy, it's just a matter of most. So deve parlare. Allora, deve parlare italiano. Se non capisci italiano, subito vattene via, ok? This shit is deep, man. Italian can be in Italy, close border to Swiss, and they can never speak French. They can't even speak English. But you can come to their country in 1 year, they want you to speak all of their languages. That thing sucks. And this is like to the black people in every country we introduce ourselves, they want us to speak their language. Nobody don't want to speak our language. And we give this opportunity to everybody in the world. A Chinese can walk into Africa and then working with a group of people, those group of people, dummies, they want to learn Chinese language. Sorry for my expression. If you walk into China, you go to China, they have all right to tell you to learn Chinese language. If you come to Italy, they have right, but they have to give you some grace period for you to figure out yourself and then learn the language. But if they come to Africa, always we want to learn their language. Something is wrong with that narrative. I left that one to you for you to answer it by yourself. I'm not going to go into those details. But now what I'm telling you, for us to get our stuff together, we're coming to that now. After the trials and everything is done, some get the papers and they move to other countries, some get it and they have the job in there. Like I said, in every group, you have some of the people who get it together. But the majority of them, they don't get it together because they are floating all over the places. It's getting tough for them. Because now they get to this new environment, they don't know how to do, they don't know. And we don't sit together and talk to each other and then give each other's idea. Some does it, but majority of the people don't. Because everybody is just working for your head. In that kind of system, we will never gonna get it together. We have to know each other's suffering. We have to know each other's struggle. Man, we have to know if somebody is not doing right, it's our responsibility as Africans to help the brother out. When I was in Italy, I was doing that. In our camp, it's going very fine. If we say something, we have one voice. That's what we do. When we say something, we mean that. And we are not doing it with force, and then we are not putting arrogance and everything in it, but we're just saying the right thing and the things that we needed as human beings. Our camp master was finding it difficult, but every time when we have a problem, the police come. When we explain it, the police, they always say, but what the things that you complain, these are like basic human stuff. If you don't have that, you can't be a human being. Why they can't give it to you? I say it's for them to answer it. It's not for us. Because of that is our fight now. This is our struggle now. We can't get these things from them. And some of our program leaders, they understand it. They sympathize with us. They help us in any level that we want to go. But you have some of the people, they just drag you to the mud. And what happens to our struggle in Italy? We have our team. We are almost over 20-something people. But we know what happens. Italians, when they know that we are just like a squad, we are like a team. When we say something, we have one voice. They start coming to our people, snatching them, and they bringing them near, and they start promising them nearness to themselves. Some of the people just broke up. They just break ranks. And you know what happens to us? They start tearing us apart. And some of our own brothers from Gambia, this is what I was telling you about the miseducation of the African brothers and African sisters. Africans in general, miseducation. We becomes like dogs and cats now. The same brothers, we do the same struggle, we come from the same bowels, we come from the same background, we come from the same suffering. We all have our different stories, but we come from the same background. Now, somebody who is in Europe now pit us together to fight. Because they know if they pit us together now, we are not in one voice, we cannot get the things done. They already figured that one out. Some of the people now, they becomes like the servants of those Italians that I was with. So us, like, we becomes like the outcasts. They sacrifice us to the people. But what happens at the end of the day? The people that they sacrifice, God come to our aid. I'm not saying this because of something, but I'm saying this like every time in any condition we find ourselves, we have to get it together. Because if you get it together, it's easy for Europeans to help you. If you get it together, it's easy for you to get help in everywhere. Even in the religions and everything, if you get together, being a Christian, Muslim, Buddha, Judah, and everything, any of the religions that you know, all the three monotheistic religions in the world, what God said in those old religions, if you want to pray for me in congregations. If you need anything in congregation, gatherings, why we have churches, why we have mosque, why do we have synagogue? Because everybody can do your worship on your own, but the reason why people go and do this stuff together you have the power. But what happens in our camp there and everything, I'm not going to tell you that one is going to be left there to be answered by itself. But what I'm saying to you, our struggle, we have to make sure we know each other's pain and each other's struggle. And what happens to us, like when we move into the hinterland of Europe now,